Hello BookTube, hello friends, welcome to LizziefayeLovesBooks. I'm Elizabeth. It is well overdue for me to share with you what I read in the month of February. Happy March everyone. We are more than a week into the month of March. I hope you are having a fantastic March with March Mystery Madness and Middle Grade March and March of the Mammoths and the Irish Readathon and everything else going on in March. And one other readathon before I forget is the Goodfellas Readathon hosted by my friend Lee from Dark Roots Creations. I completely forgot to mention her readathon when I did my March TBR, and I will be reading something this month that will fit for at least one of her prompts. I will put a link in the description below so that you can check it out. But right now, I want to share with you what I read in the month of February. I have just been putting this off and putting this off. I don't know why. Part of it is because I have some very definite eBay goals for this month, and I'm really working hard to keep up with those. And part of it is that I have just been in the mood to, while I'm working on eBay, I am listening to reseller videos instead of audiobooks. And that doesn't have anything to do with last month, although it kind of does reflect in how much I finished. I only finished 15 books in the month of February. Now, I know it's a shorter month, but I have 7 books that I started and did not finish. So I don't have any excuse for most of those. There were a couple of them that I knew, from the get-go, it would take me longer than a month to read. But all the rest of them, I just flat out did not get them done. So I'll show you those as well. And let's just get started. So of the 15 books that I finished, here are how the genres break down. 3 of them were middle grade books. And I know that's not a genre, but I usually do group those together. Of the 3 middle grade books, one is contemporary for its time, although it's historical at this point. One is futuristic fantasy, and the other is actually historical. It's not an old book at all, but it is historical. So I will share with you those. Share those with you in a couple of minutes. I also had 2 nonfiction books, 2 that I finished, and then another one that I started knowing I wasn't going to finish it, and I will show you that one as well. Then I had 5 books that are mystery or crime. Now, one of those is true crime, one of them is more of a gritty mystery, and then the other 3 are cozy mysteries. So I'll just lump those all into the crime category. And then 5 books that were for the Laura Ingalls Wilder Little House Readathon. So 5 books that are related to Laura Ingalls Wilder that I read for the Little House Readathon. And I will show you those as well. Now, there were 3 other books that I started that I carried over that don't fit into any of those categories. One is historical, one is Little House related, and the other one is nonfiction. So, I participated in a bunch of readathons. Some I did better at than others, and a couple of them I would consider a fail, but I'm still going to keep working to read those books. All of those books are still on my TBR, and even if it takes me several months, I'll still continue to check off all of those prompts because I love the prompts, love the readathons, and I want to to finish them because I'm a finisher. I feel like I'm yelling. Am I yelling? I don't mean to yell. I'm sorry. Emily's in the room and she's turning pages. If you can hear the crinkling of pages, that's her. It's a sensory thing, I think, with her. So anyway, let's just get started. Let me find a place to put my book here. And let's just start with a nonfiction. So the 2 that I finished, the other month, a few months ago, I went through my shelves over here where I have a lot of my Christian nonfiction books, and I just sort of reassessed what I owned, what I'd read, what I hadn't read, and sort of just made a plan to get some of these books read. So both of these nonfiction books that I read in the month of February were gifts given to me from people who are very special to me. And this one was given to me August 1st, 1988 from my mother. Now, I moved to Florida in August of 88, and it's very appropriate that she would give me this book called I'm on My Way to a Brighter Day. It's by Douglas Richards, and I don't know that I ever actually sat down and read it cover to cover. Now, the one thing that makes me a little bit sad is that this is not a Christian book. It is inspirational poems, but it to me, very obviously leaves God out of the equation. And I don't know if my mom realized that or not. I think she probably just thought the poems were nice, and the name was very appropriate. It's published by Blue Mountain Press, who I believe publishes quite a bit of inspirational poetry. So the poems are very nice, and I did enjoy reading them very much. And in the front cover, she wrote on August 1st, 1988, "To Elizabeth, as you leave OSU and begin your life's work, God bless you always. Much love, Mama." So, interestingly enough, this was given to me on August 1st, 1988, and my mom passed away on August the 8th, 2008. So almost 20 years exactly from the time she gave me this book until she passed away. So I did really enjoy reading it. I might perhaps pass this on to my daughter, Katie, whenever she leaves home. She's in college now, but commuting and working and living at home, it'll be a little while before she actually leaves us and goes somewhere else. But I will probably pass this on to her. I had to pause for a second because I saw the FedEx truck pull up in front of the house, and I didn't know if it was for me or the neighbor across the street, because they seem to get a lot of deliveries, but it was for me. I almost had forgotten that I had ordered some bubble wrap. Selling on eBay, you go through a lot of bubble wrap if you are selling anything that is breakable at all. And I had just about used through all of the bubble wrap that my husband had bought previously before I took over the eBay store. And I have a little bit of random bubble wrap that I've saved from, packages that came to me. But it was time to order some rolls of bubble wrap. So that's what that was. Anyway, back to the books. So I've already talked about this one. Now, this book is by Max Lucado. I don't know that I've ever actually read a book by Max Lucado, except maybe one of his children's books with Emily. But this is When God Whispers Your Name. And this was given to me. It says, "Happy birthday, Elizabeth. Love, Lynn, 1995. So Lynn is a very sweet, dear friend of mine who, for many years, was a missionary in Africa. I met her before she became a missionary in Africa, and she's now in her 80s, and still makes occasional trips to Africa on shorter mission trips. She is an amazing individual and very special to me. She was my neighbor across the street when I first moved to Orlando, and so she gave me this book. It has taken me all this time to read it. But I don't think that there are any accidents. This has been waiting on my shelf for the right time for me to read it, because it really spoke to me in the month of February. For one thing, that's logistically perfect. There are 28 chapters. And when I picked it up and looked at it and thought about reading it, I was like, wow, there's 28 chapters. This is definitely a February book. And what I didn't realize is that in the back, there are some discussion questions for each chapter. And I didn't realize that until the month was almost over. So I did skim through the questions, but I think I will just make this my February book. Every year, I will read this book in February. And next year, I will actually go through the discussion guide and the questions and look up the cross-reference scriptures and all of that as I read each chapter. But anyway, let me just back up a little bit. This is a Christian book. I think that's probably obvious, but it just has little short chapters and vignettes that illustrate various things that can be inspirational for you in your life as a follower of God and Jesus Christ. So that's basically what it is, and very much enjoyed it. I'm so happy that I read it. I'm kicking myself a little bit for not reading it sooner, but at the same time, it came at the right time. So another book that I found on this shelf that had not been there very long. I purchased this in 2020 when the youth from our church went on a trip to Franklin, North Carolina. We were still in COVID, but it had calmed down enough there was kind of a lull that the youth director decided that rather than, all of our actual mission trips had gotten canceled, but he said, you guys have worked hard and raised money. Let's just make a trip just for fun. And Emily had just graduated, and she was doing so much better, and she had never gotten to go on a church youth trip. So I went along so that Emily could go, and of course I had to do some thrifting while I was there, and I found this at a Goodwill there in Franklin, North Carolina. So this is called Delight Yourself in the Lord, Even on Bad Hair Days. This has 100 devotionals, and each one is 2 pages long. It just starts out with a little verse at the top, and then a little narrative, and then a prayer, which is your basic formula for a devotional book or a journey magazine or whatever. So I at first thought maybe I would double up and try to read it all in 1 month, and I thought, no, what's the point of that? I'll just read one a day and I'll enjoy it, I'll savor it. And I really have. This is written by 5 different Christian women, and looking at them, looking at their pictures and their names and everything, I don't know that I have ever read anything by any of them except maybe Diane Hunt. And it turns out that since this was written, Diane Hunt has passed away. She was going through chemo at the time that they were writing this book. So of the 100 devotions, each one of the 5 ladies wrote several of them. I don't know if it was an even 20 apiece or what, but each one of them is signed, so at the end, which one wrote which one. But the authors are Kristen Billerbeck, Sandra D. Bricker, Diane Hunt, Debbie Main, and Trish Perry. And now that I'm reading this, I feel like I'm really getting to know these women, and I'm realizing that because I've looked up each one of these authors to see what other books they have, I've got some of their books on my shelves that I haven't read, and so now I'm even more excited to read their books since I've been reading and learning a little bit more of their stories and about their walk with God. So I'm very interested in reading more. There is a few other books like this. Some of these same authors contributed, and there are other contributing authors, but there is a whole line of these devotional books. I don't know if they're all for women or not. This one, part of the original proceeds for this book went to the Ovarian Cancer Research Fund, which is great. Summerside Press is Emily still turning pages. Summerside Press is the publisher of this book, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So that's all the nonfiction, sort of. A couple of the Little House books were nonfiction, and so let me just go ahead and show you those next, because that was pretty early in the month. And if you didn't hear about the Little House Readathon, I host that from February 7th through February 10th, because Laura Ingalls was born on February 7th, and Laura Ingalls Wilder died on February 10th at the age of 90. So this was the 3rd year for the Little House Readathon, and I read 1 book in print. I read 2 books in print. One I didn't finish for a little while, and then I listened to 3 books on audio, and then I started a book that I knew would take me much longer. So our group read was On the Way Home. This is Laura's diary of when her and her husband Almanzo and their daughter Rose moved from South Dakota to Missouri, or Missouri, as I believe they say, in Missouri. Very good. I very much enjoyed it. It had been years since I read it, and we had kind of a discussion about this on our live stream at the end of the readathon. So if you want to check that out, if you haven't already, I hope you will. I started this one. This is the other nonfiction book. Well, no, there's more. it's kind of a mixture. I started this one. This is a library copy. I really do want to get my own copy of this. But I had every hope of finishing this before the readathon and then doing a full review of it during the readathon. That just didn't happen. I got pretty close to finishing it, but I still have not done the shopping and gone to get ingredients to actually prepare a couple of recipes, which is what I want to do before, before I consider myself done with this book. But this is the Little House Cookbook. It's by Barbara M. Walker, and it has excerpts from several of the Little House books. And really, more than a cookbook, this is more of an instructional book about how things were done and how food was cooked and prepared in Laura's time. So there are recipes, but you kind of have to dig for them a little bit. It is probably more narrative than recipe. I did very much enjoy it, but as far as a cookbook, it's just, I think it would be really hard to follow this as a cookbook unless you were just making it a out and out project and you were gonna just really do a deep dive into cooking like the pioneers did. Let me just say that. Very interesting book though, definitely. The book that I started that I've only gotten a little ways into is Pioneer Girl. This is Laura's autobiography that she wrote before she ever wrote her stories for children. This book is geared more for adults. I still haven't even gotten past the 50-page introduction yet because I said I would just read, even if I read 2 pages a day, I'll get it done about July. Well, I've missed some days, but I have sat down more this month and read 2 to 3 pages in one sitting and want to make sure I finish it by the end of the year. The problem is I don't know where to keep it. I don't know where to put it. Emily sometimes will, if I leave books sitting around, she'll gather them into her pile and then I'll have to go hunt for them. And there's a pretty good spot for that in the shelf under the television, but that's not where I keep all my other books. And it's kind of too big for the book cart or for the coffee table or anything. So, I just have to remember to go and get it, read a couple pages and put it back. So that makes it a little more challenging to read. So the other books that I read, these were all on audio, and I have done reviews of these each day during the readathon, so I won't go into much detail, but I did really enjoy these. This is Confessions of a Prairie, let's just say girl who is not well liked. And that would be a good definition for Nellie Olson. This is by Allison Arngrim, who played Nellie Olson, and there were a lot of sad things in that book, but I really did enjoy the book itself overall. There was some foul language, but I enjoyed the look behind the scenes of the show, which I very much loved as a kid. Still do. Still love it. And, if you are a fan of Laura Ingalls Wilder or Little House on the Prairie, the show, or the books, well, if you're a fan of the show, I would say definitely give that book a second look if you have thought about reading it. Then I listened to, I'm trying to think which one was next. I think this one was next. The Wilder Life by Wendy McClure. This is a book about a woman who went on a quest to visit all of the Laura Ingalls Wilder home sites. She really did take a deep dive into the world of Laura Ingalls Wilder, and it's her story, and it was very entertaining. A little bit of foul language in that one too, as I recall. Not a lot, not as much as the other one, but neither of these are children's books, but definitely worth taking a look at. And then this one, A Wilder Rose. I did purchase this book. I ordered it from eBay because I wanted this book to meet the criteria for one of the Library Love Readathon prompts for historical fiction, which was to read a book with a woman on the front cover in period clothing facing away. Now, I know, by ordering this and buying it myself, it's not a library book. But my library didn't have this edition, and I wanted this edition. This is A Wilder Rose by Susan Wittick Albert, and this is a story of Rose Wilder Lane. And it's embellished. The author says right from the get-go that she has taken the facts and she has embellished it and made it her own story, but it's about Rose Wilder Lane and her life. And this made me like Rose a little more than I think I have in the past. So, if you're a big Laura Ingalls Wilder fan, you know that her daughter Rose is not the same. She's not a mini-me of Laura at all. But this, I think, helped give me a little more insight into her, into where she's coming from. And, again, I'm acknowledging it's embellished, so we don't know if this is exactly the truth or not. But it was an enjoyable book, so I'm glad that I read it. All right, let's do the 3 middle grade books before we get to the mysteries. Pick it up. Emily's got a stack of books. She's after my own heart. She's got a stack of books, and she's turning through them. So, I don't remember what order I read these in, and even what goals I'm trying to think what goals they accomplished, because each of them did accomplish something. So this is on my SAS list, Serious About Series list, because it's the only sequel to Pinkie Pie, this is Pinkie Pie. Ginger Pie, which is a Newbery winner by Eleanor Estes that I read for my Newbery project. And I decided, since it was just one sequel, why not just go ahead and read this? Both of the books are on Hoopla on audio, so I listened to them. These are very dated stories of children and their adventures in the 1940s, and they are entertaining. I think I enjoyed this one really more than the first one. There's some safety concerns in the first one. Like, the kids are playing at a house that's under construction. They call it a skeleton house. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, that's dangerous. This, though, was very entertaining. And they find a kitten. I'm trying to even think now, because it's been a few weeks since I finished this. There is a kitten that is introduced into the family. And I remember enjoying it, and I thought it was very cute. Then the next one, this one was a tougher read. The Unsung Hero of Birdsong USA. It's by Brenda Woods. This is one of the Sunshine State books for this school year. This is historical fiction about a young boy who is in the very beginning of the book. He almost gets into an accident on his bicycle when a car almost hits him, and he is saved by a man who is African American, and I guess, I can't even remember now. Somehow he, pulls him out of danger and keeps him from getting hit by a car. So this African-American man is a veteran from World War II, I believe, and he is very hesitant to let people know that he is a veteran because of the racism involved and the resentment involved in, in being a African-American veteran of the time. Now, I never realized that was an issue, but, apparently it was. So it was a very eye-opening book, and, stuff like this, I think, is just great to read, because it really puts things in perspective, and it really helps us to know where we've gone wrong in the past, and hope that we never go back there. I'm trying to see if I told you the right information. I'm trying to remember the whole situation of the whole racism. He served in the Army's all-black 761st Tank Battalion in World War II. And the boy, who in the book is named Gabriel, it says, soon Gabriel learns why it's so dangerous for Meriwether to talk about his heroism in front of white people, and Gabriel's eyes are finally opened to the hard truth about birdsong, and his understanding of what it means to be a hero will never be the same. So Birdsong is the name of the town, and I just thought it was very good. It's not long at all. Very short book. If you have an opportunity to pick it up, I would recommend it. And then this one I read, this is going to fulfill a prompt for the Library Love Readathon, which I'll get to in just a second. But this was very good. This is called Jinxed. It is by Amy McCullough. I don't know if it's McCullough or McCulloch. There's how you spelled her name. And this ended on such a cliffhanger. I was sitting over here at the desk. I had the computer next to me. I closed the book and immediately went to Goodreads to make sure there was a sequel out because I wanted to know. I wanted to immediately go and check out the sequel and read it. So I did check out the sequel. And I didn't read it yet, but I did go pick it up and look at the first couple pages. I'm like, oh my goodness, what kind of cliffhanger is this? So I can't wait to read the next one, though. I'll probably save it for middle grade May. And if you have a chance to pick this up, I hope you will. It's futuristic, and it's about a girl with a robot cat. I'll just leave it at that. So that is everything except the mysteries. So let me show you those real quick. And then I want to go through and say what each thing meant for each of the readathons. So this was my book club book for my mystery book last month, Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This is, I'm hearing about this book everywhere lately, and some people are reading it from March Mystery Madness. I think one of our co-hosts is reading it, Alicia from Pretty Brown Eye Reader, and she's read the other book by S.A. Cosby. I think he just got 2 out, and I have not. This was my first time reading him. Now, let me just say, it has a lot of foul language, which I did not like. I never do, never will. I don't like it. But it fit the story. Both of our main characters are ex-convicts. They are fathers of gay sons who were married, and both of their sons were murdered. And so they set about trying to find the killers. And they are no nonsense. What I liked about the story, because I have to like some of the characters, especially with a book that has so much foul language, there's got to be something in it that I like, and I really did like the 2 fathers. They were flawed, they had so many other issues of their own, and yet they experienced so much growth throughout the story, and that alone was enough to help me to enjoy the story. Now, it was very gritty, very gritty. Not the kind of thing I would normally pick up, but since I lead the Mystery Book Club and this was picked, I kind of needed to read it. And after I didn't finish one of our January books, which was The 4 Winds by Kristen Hanna, when I got to book club for this book, they were all kind of shocked that I actually enjoyed this book. And they're like, what? Are you kidding? I'm like, no, and let me tell you why. So anyway, it just goes to show, you don't know. But I don't know that I would read the other book by him, but, S.J. Cosby, or S.A. Cosby, sorry. But I am glad that I read this, and if it sounds like something you would want to read, then, by all means, pick it up. This I would not have picked up. I try to, when there's a readathon I really want to participate in, I try to plug in as many books as I can from my already existing TBR. But I really wanted to try to read something from all of the hosts of the Library Love Readathon. And so this is why I picked this up. There was an abridged version on Hoopla that I listened to, so I did not get through this entire book. But this is a true crime book, which I don't really gravitate towards true crime at all. But I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and give it a go. And this is In the Still of the Night by Anne Rule. This was very interesting. And I don't know if this crime still has ever been solved. And that's the interesting thing about Anne Rule. Her ability to write about a crime, even if it hasn't been solved, and just show all the evidence and all of the, all of the everything. She does such a great job with that. I've read, I think, maybe 3 books by her now, and all of them have been very intriguing and very compelling. So, anyway, I did pick this up for the Library Love Readathon. All right, so everything else is cozy. This is book, I already forgot, 6 or 7 from the Mrs. Jeffries series. This is Mrs. Jeffries on the Trail, a Victorian Mystery by Emily Brightwell. Wow, it has really gotten dark. It is a very gray day, and it's starting to get late afternoon right now. It's like 5-ish, so the shadows, I only have light on this side and a window here, and sorry, I don't know. Y'all don't need to know. But anyway, one of these days I'm going to get me a better light in here. Anyway, very entertaining. Mrs. Jeffries is the housekeeper of an inspector with Scotland Yard who has been promoted to the level beyond his ability, and Mrs. Jeffries and the staff, unbeknownst to the inspector, are really the ones who solve the crimes for him. And I very much enjoyed this book as well as the others, and I'm going to continue the series. The other two, I just have books here as placeholders, but they're not what I read. If I don't stick in my box here to remind me of what I have read, I will just forget it completely. So I'll put a picture up here. This was for the Killing Time with Cozy scavenger hunt. It was Pulp Friction. For one of our scavenger hunt picks, we needed to read a book that had something to do with a wedding. So this is book 2 in the Cider Shop Mystery Series by Julie Ann Lindsay. And I think there's only 3 books, so I will definitely go ahead and get to the 3rd one this year as well. I think I put that series on my Serious About Series list so that I could just go ahead and finish it up. If I didn't, actually, no, I don't think I did, because I don't think I even read the first one until this year. But no matter, I will still go ahead and get, the 3rd one done as well. But it's a very entertaining series, and I definitely do want to read more by Julie Ann Lindsay. And then the next one, I have to think, because these are not the books that I read. It was a culinary mystery, and I interviewed the author, Jessica Thompson, on March the 1st. So her second book is the Caterer's Guide to Holidays and Homicide. It's book 2 in the Caterer's Guide to Crime series, and I read her first book last year, which is Caterer's Guide to Love and Murder. And I did an interview with her on my first live stream for March Mystery Madness, which was a week ago, a little over a week ago now. And I very much enjoyed chatting with her, and I hope to have her back on again maybe next year when her next book comes out. I think the next book in the series will come out next year, but she's got a couple of other things that she's working on in the meantime. So if you did not see that video, I hope you will check it out. And I'll show you the cover of the first book as well. And be sure you check out the series. It is a lot of fun. One thing I think I was going to bring up with her in the interview, and I completely forgot, and I don't think she did it as much in the second book as she did in the first one, but at the end of each chapter, there's just a little snippet of monologue from the murderer's perspective. You have no idea who they are at that point, but I love that. I don't know if that's a thing in any other books, but I thought it was unique and very creative, and I really enjoyed that because it really gets you inside the head of the murderer. So check out the Caterer's Guide to Love and Murder by Jessica Thompson, and follow her on Instagram. She has a really fun Instagram page. She does all kinds of little shorts and things like that. So check her out there. And then I had 2 cozy mysteries that I started and did not finish. One of them I don't have a physical copy of. It's Honey Roasted by Cleo Coyle. It is the most recent in the Coffee House mysteries. I have no excuse for not finishing that book. It's not even very long. I got started on it late in the month. I had several other things going, and before I knew it, time was up, and I just have not gone back to it yet. So I'm about half done with it, and I will finish it this month for March Mystery Madness. And then the other one I'm reading in print that I started last month, and I'm currently reading it. I am over half done with this now. The Cat, the Professor, and the Poison by Leanne Sweeney. It is book 2 in the Cats in Trouble series. I am really, really enjoying this book. This series, I think, is going to be moving up near into my top 5, maybe at least top 10 cozy mystery series, especially if they, I'll reserve judgment until I read a few more, but if they continue to be as good as this one, then it's going to keep inching its way up there. So I had 3 other books that I started and didn't finish, and let me reach down here and show you those. Another book club book. This book club has already met. My brother was here, and we were both trying to read it. We got several chapters in, and he even went to book club with me, but I did not get it finished yet. This is The Personal Librarian by Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray, and I have enjoyed it. It's historical, based on real people, the personal librarian of J.P. Morgan. And part of the reason I have not finished it is because I've got it here on CD. My CD player is still broken in my car. I need to just try to get a new CD player. And it's just really hard for me to get CDs. It's hard for me to listen to CDs in the house for some reason, because I never stay stationary in one place, in one room long enough for me to really get a lot done. Whereas in the car, you know, I'm captive audience. But I do have it on hold, on overdrive, on my phone, and I'm just way down in queue. So I may just wait until I can get it on overdrive and finish it up then, since, you know, book club has come and gone and there's no big rush. Here's another one I started that is one of my BookTube spin books for round 5. This is Moon Pies and Movie Stars by Amy Wallen. This is kind of a funny Southern humor type book, and I only got a little ways into it and again, ran out of time. So I have it on Hoopla on audio, and I will get that finished. And then my mammoth keeps marching on. I'm still reading The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. There's, I think, about 6 of us now, 6 or 7 of us in the Voxer group who are reading this, plugging away slowly but surely, a little bit at a time, baby steps, and we will eventually get this done. So, actually, one person joined that group who's already read it, who is participating in the discussion. That's Janelle from Too Fond of Books. So thanks, Janelle, for bringing some more life into our discussion. Because, you know, Felicia, who was my co-host for the read-along, she nailed it in her, in a recent video. I can't remember which video it was now, but, and I'm so glad she included me. When she said we, it's like she got inside my head, because she said, Elizabeth and I, what were we thinking? We both like to read all the books. What were we thinking that we could finish a book like that in 2 months? And she's exactly right, because I have ADD when it comes to reading, and I want to read everything. And I got so scattered that I only finished 15 books, and that is just not... That is not me. But like I said earlier, part of it's eBay. You know, I was distracted, but still, you know, one of those things. All right, so let me go through my book really quick and talk about the readathons. I have already gone over half an hour, so sorry about that. But let me, yeah, it is still going. For a minute, I thought it had stopped, but so I already talked about the Little House Readathon, and I'm trying to think. I feel like there were 4 readathons. Yes, there were 4. And I failed one of them completely. I did not get any retro romances read. Storm, I am so sorry. So Storm from Storm Reads hosted the Retro Romance Readathon. I had all these Debbie Maycombers lined up that I was going to read a whole series. I was going to listen to it. I didn't get to any of those. I will get to those this year, but I did not get to them in February. And then Mr. Francie hosted the Cozy Up with Mr. Francie readathon. So a couple of the books that I read will count. He had a prompt to read one with food on the cover. And actually, I believe the Jessica Thompson book can count for that. I had a different one down, but I believe, let's put that back up here. Is there food on that cover? I think there is. Caterer's Guide to Holidays and Homicide. So yay, I did get that one done. Then an author you've never read before. So I didn't finish that one yet. An author you have read before. So for that one, I had written down that I would count this one, which I'm not done with yet, but I'll get it done. One of the prompts was to listen to an audiobook that's a cozy mystery. So I'm going to count Mrs. Jeffries on the Trail for that. So I did okay. Then one that had murder in the title. I did not get that one done. I don't think, unless I double up. No. But the next one is a culinary cozy. So I actually had written down either caramel pecan roll murder or honey roasted. But Holidays and Homicide could count for culinary cozy because it's about a caterer. So, you know, I can plug that one into both, but eventually I will get one thing done for each and not have to double up. I just didn't get it done during the month of February. And then one was to read an arts and crafts themed mystery, and I did not get that done. Another one was to read a paranormal or a fantasy cozy mystery. I did not get that done. And the 9th one was to read one with the prettiest cover. the covers were just fine on all of these books, but the one I had in mind I did not read yet, so I'm going to consider that one undone, not done yet. So I did go with my own readathon. You know, at least there's that. But I did horrible with retro romance and just okay with the cozy up. Now, the Library Love Readathon was a huge thing with how many hosts? Something like 10 hosts. And each of them had 3 prompts. So it wasn't meant for any person to do all the prompts. I did plug in a book for all the prompts, but I would really count it as a success because I did get quite a few of the prompts done. And I almost got something done for each of the hosts. So let me just kind of go through what I did get done. Petra, it was a booktuber named Petra. Her whole theme was fantasy, and one of hers was to read a tome. So I did make some progress in Pillars of the Earth. So there's that. Book with a map. I did make some progress. I said that I was going to count this one because this whole cover is kind of a map. It's not one you could go by. You couldn't follow it, but it does have, you know, a little bit of a map on it. So I got part of that done. So we can call that one that. And then continue a series that you've started. So I did continue several cozy mystery series that I have started. Not the one that I had written down, but I did finish some. Then we had Jessica, who is an Instagrammer, and hers was more of like a true crime theme. So that is why I did read this Anne Rule book. So I did get that one done. And then, and that was supposed to be a true crime that is relationship inspired that results in a murder. And that's why I picked this one. This one fits that bill. Another one was to read one with 2 people on the cover. I was going to use another book, one of my romance books for that, and I didn't get it done. And then a taste of romance, something that had to do with poison. So I am counting The Cat, the Professor, and the Poison. That's perfect. So again, didn't finish it yet, but it counts for that. So then Naomi from Naomi's Bookshelf, who was my co-host for the Little House Readathon, her theme was not a novel. So she wanted us to read a graphic novel, which I have one checked out, and I didn't get it done yet. Listen to an audiobook, which I did, and to watch a show or a movie, and I did not get that done. At least not one from the library. I've got one picked out, but I just didn't get it done. And then Melissa from Fully Booked, hers was about language, and I don't think I got any of hers done. I did not. I had some picked out, but I didn't get them done. And the same for Kate Howe. Her theme was fairy tale, and I did not get any of hers done either. No, I did not. Rainy from Rainy Day Reads, her theme was finer things, and she had her 3 prompts. One was something with a food and beverage theme, which I guess I could count the holidays and homicide. That's not the one I picked out, but let's count that. And then a book about a hobby. I didn't get that done, but I did read a book that is written by or about a famous person from it's a show or bio. I guess you could watch a show or read a bio about a famous person. Anyway, I'm going to count the Alison Arngrim book for that. So I did get that one done. Then Ms. Richards Reads, Stephanie, hers was Cozy Companions. So this is my favorite matchup to any prompt because her first prompt was to read a book with a non-traditional companion. I bet nobody else read a book about a girl with a robot cat. That's all I'm saying. And then I did not get the second one done, which was to read a book with a cat or dog on the cover. Although this does have cats on the cover, although I didn't finish it. And I was trying not to double up within the readathon. Like, I could use one book for 4 different readathons, but I tried not to use one book for more than one prompt within the same readathon. So that's my own personal criteria that I impugn on myself. I know, it's dumb, but don't ask. her third one was just about an animal companion, so I am counting Pinkie Pie. They had two animal companions. They had Ginger Pie and Pinkie Pie in that book, so that counts. The next one was Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia, and her theme was travel. And so her first prompt was to read a book about a journey, and so I'm counting On the Way Home for that. The next one was to read a book with a sun on the cover or in the title. I've got one picked out, but I didn't get to it. And then one set in a different country, so I'm counting Mrs. Jeffries on the Trail, that's set in England. So I got two of hers done. And then Chelsea, Voyage of a Time Wanderer, her theme was historical fiction. And so she even mentioned in her video that the personal librarian could count for all three of her prompts. I was going to count it for the one with the bookish word in it, because I had other things that can fit. Actually, if that was finished, then I could say I finished all of Chelsea's prompts, but I didn't quite finish that one yet. But her next prompt was a new arrival, so I'm counting Razor Blade Tears, because look at that right there. New. This came from the new shelf at the library. And then the third one was to read a book with a woman in a period costume facing away. And even though it's not a library book, this definitely fits the bill, A Wilder Rose. And the last one, is there just one more? Yep, is Taking Tea with Catherine. And her theme was, I think, the cafe. So her first prompt was a warm drink. And so I started the coffee house mystery, Honey Roasted. Stick another picture up here. If I forget to, y'all have seen it already. The next one is Something Sweet. So I was going to read those Debbie Makeover romances. I was going to count one of those. I didn't get to them. So, and then one was to try something new. So I was going to read a Newbery winner that is written by an author that I have not ever read before, which would be an author new to me. Did not get that one done either. There are probably others that would count, but anyway, that's just what I had written down, and I either did or didn't get it done. So, I haven't analyzed it to see what else could fit. I'm sure there's other things that could fit, but it's neither here nor there. It was a good reading month overall. Not as great as I wanted it to be, but I did have some very unrealistic expectations of myself. And I really knew that I was not going to get all of those read, but it's good to have goals. It's good to have targets to shoot for. So, if you don't have goals, then, at least with me, if I don't have goals, then I just fritter away my time. I can still have goals and fritter away my time, but at least if I have goals, then I can at least get something done, usually. All right, I have rambled on long enough. Thank you so much for sticking with me all this time. Let me know what your favorite book was that you read in the month of February, and if you are participating in March Mystery Madness. I am continuing to do a live stream on Tuesday. It's my Terrific Tuesday with friends over coffee, and I had a really fun chat this week with Mandy from The Night Owl, and several of you joined in the chat, and I hope to have one or more friends on with me all the rest of the Tuesdays during the month of March for March Mystery Madness. So come back for that. I hope to have a few other videos in between. And that's all for this one, though. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.